All eyes were on Craig Conroy at this year's draft, and it's safe to say things went pretty well.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me on this post-draft pre-free agency episode that's going live on Sunday. I hope you are all having a great day, and thank you for making Locked On Flames part of your day. Today, we are going to recap the draft and just how well the Flames made out, the overall consensus, and the tough news of Oliver Kylington reportedly testing the market. But before we dive into all that, please make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. There was a lot of, or there still is a lot of positive consensus surrounding the Flames' approach to the draft and their draft results. A lot of the professionals that, spend their lives focusing on prospects said that the Flames, have all finished within the top 3 to 4 draft classes. So, I'll take it. It's obviously still very early to tell, which, of course, but Craig Conroy hit the nail on the head each and every time. Let's see. I do have the draft class pulled up. And obviously, Tisha Ginla went to Utah at 4, which was tough. Like, that did sting a little bit. But I'm happy that he gets to be a trivia question answer. Because somewhere down the line, we're going to be sitting at a bar and someone's going to say, who was the first ever draft pick for the Utah, whatever they are? And we'll be able to raise our hands because this hockey knowledge pays off. But the Flames did end up with Zane Perrick in the first 9th overall spot. Great right-handed defenseman. Super happy kid, obviously, how can you not be? But he is a solid defenseman, has an offensive touch to his game, always great. And Matvey Gryden was their second first-round pick, who's a right winger. Big kid from Russia, but is already over here playing in the USHL and will be at Michigan this fall. It sounds like he does have a little bit of maturing to do, which, yeah, that happens. But people really liked this pick. Andrew Basha being available at 41 was a shock. And he's a Calgary kid. Flames picked him. And he plays either left or right wing. So, he's a versatile player there. And Jacob Battaglia, who was their 62nd overall pick, and he's a right winger. He seems like a good kid. All these kids have developing to do. There's no immediate say that, this kid's going to be NHL ready. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer. And but everything is playing out where these are NHL caliber picks. Henry Muse, Kirill Zarubin, Trevor Hoskin, Luke Nisa, who is a center, along with Hunter Lang is a center, and Eric Jameson, who is a left-handed defenseman. They did take a goalie with Kirill Zarubin. Why not? You have the picks. The more picks you have, the more chances you have to get something to stick, and that's been Craig Conroy's method. And it's not just throwing whatever at the wall and seeing if it works. It's strategically doing this. And oh man, I wish we had this pick this round so he could snag this guy. And like, they don't have to worry about that. It's great. Gridden was actually the USHL's leading scorer, and I think that's a good sign. Obviously going to have to translate into the pros. And then all of the scouting reports that I read on Zane Perrick were basically the same things. He is an offensive defenseman that needs to tighten up his defensive game, but like, he is very dynamic, and we like that. Most of these players on here as well, they all shoot well. Like, that's one of their strengths. What are the Flames lacking? Shooting talent. So it's great to see these positive attributes, start to trickle into the Flames system, because they're going to need to be there at some point. And everyone was talking about how Craig Conroy, like, all eyes were on him. This was his draft, and nothing but positive consensus. And I would say, like, it's completely fine to be skeptical. Okay, this draft could end up being bad. Maybe something doesn't work out, or whatever the case may be. But like, there's hope here, and like, for once, it's not people laughing at the Flames, which I appreciate. And it's good to kind of hear like the scouts and the people who dedicate their careers to following these future draft picks and, end up hopefully becoming NHLers, say that Conroy did well. Conroy came in with a mess to clean, and we're going to talk about a little bit about this next, but like, he did what he needed to do, and he's done it well. We're not going to know the results for a few years here, but it's a start. And being skeptical is fine. I completely understand, because we don't know how this is going to turn out, but he did pretty well with all of the trades, and tomorrow is going to be a big test. He's made it clear about his approach to this, and we'll talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Flames. But before we do that, we are going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on this special episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. With this new era of Flames hockey, you have to look to the past. It's very easy to just, only want to like look forward, but you have mistakes and scenarios that you can learn from. And Craig Conroy was in the thick of it for 10 years with Brad Treliving. So he literally learned what not to do. And I think that's great. And as a first-time general manager, I think that that's even more important, because like, you don't have general manager experience, but you saw what that other guy did, and you're like, oh, no. We are avoiding that like the plague. But on the other side, like, I couldn't figure out why Mangiapane's trade and the trade deadline felt so different from years past. And Justin from Sea of Red Central was like, Conroy does not have any, like, there, he removes the emotion from it. He's been a player, he knows what it's like, and he knows what the vision is. And there's no tiptoeing around this. It is, you're getting business done. And that, I feel like that hits the nail on the head perfectly, because we have watched this wishy-washy mess for a while, and it's nice to see the Flames starting to clean up their mess. One thing that I did notice was that no Americans were drafted, and not like, that's no shade to Americans as an American, because like, I get it. I just find it funny, because how many American players have they had that have left, right? So that's that. But I guess it's nice to see people like rallying for the Flames. Like, this optimism feels so nice and so strange. And I was talking with some people and they were like, yeah, no, I haven't seen like Flames Twitter this happy in like a very long time. So that's a very good sign that things are heading in the right direction. But there is still a lot of work to be done, which we know. No one said that this draft was going to be, you know, the end all be all. Like, you're going to have NHL ready players, throw them into the lineup on opening night, and this team is going to be a contender. No. Realistically, this is going to take a few cracks. You got to really replenish what is no longer here, because you can't eat, you can't cook with an empty cupboard. And that's what Conroy's starting to do. He's starting to put things back where they belong. And I mean, I appreciated that he approached it with like the best player available mentality that fits their needs. And it's not just like, okay, this guy's 6'7" and he's big. It felt like there was more rhyme or reason behind each draft pick. And I like that, because that top 10 pick, like after Celebrini, it really could have been anyone. Some of these players, like Basha being available at 74 is crazy. No one saw that. Or sorry, 62. No, I lied. 41st. No one saw him dropping that low. Same with Henry Muse and Battaglia. So, like, they got incredible value at this draft. And that's what's important. Because you have the pieces now. Now it's about your player development department, to get these kids ready for them to make these next steps. And I saw people kind of, I don't want to say like confused about taking a goalie, because that doesn't necessarily like sound right. But, you know, it's been years since Dustin Wolf was drafted. Okay. It's been a hot minute, and he still is not an NHL starter, not because he lacks talent, but because it takes time, and there's a logjam. There wasn't an opening until like 2 weeks ago. So taking a goalie now, it's again future planning. It's not just for right now. It's for years down the road, or maybe an asset that you can give up. Like, you never know. You just never know. And Conroy, I thought, this is how I kind of knew things were going in more of the direction of a rebuild rather than a retool. He said that they're going to use their cap space as an asset to help take on, maybe some bad contracts, as if they don't have enough of their own, but, help another friend out. And, we don't want to go the way of the Arizona Coyotes, because that ultimately did not have a happy ending. But you have to look at what worked for them. Obviously, Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley are two fantastic players that they have been able to get through this. And Shea Weber, I think, is still, I don't think he's officially retired. I'm pretty sure that he is still, I guess, technically a Coyote or a Yeti. I don't know where things are at with that, but it feels very rebuild-esque. And that's a good thing. Obviously, this team cannot tear it down to the studs. That's fine. But you use what you have to your advantage regardless. And it feels like Craig Conroy, now that he has a year under his belt, he has the first year of UFA's, experience behind him. He is ready to move forward. And moving forward with this plan is probably going to lead to not so great results on ice. And it's going to stink. But you're going to have a nice return on investment. And I think that that's really what matters here, because you can't have like the winning dynasty era without the slumps and the tough times. This is what builds character. And there have been rumors floating around that potentially there's a player on the team that may or may not request a trade, because this is not what they signed in Calgary to be part of. And we also heard that on a podcast appearance they did earlier this summer, Blake Coleman. And I don't blame him. I don't. But you know what I think is great? Any contending team would love him. Blake Coleman, you are a New York Ranger. You are a New Jersey Devil. Actually, no, please don't send him back to New Jersey. There are a ton of teams that are looking to contend that could use a Blake Coleman, and you're not getting anything, like, you're not going to have to give up anything super crazy to get him. So again, this is something for them to explore and us to, sit back and watch it all happen. But coming up next, we are going to wrap up the show with some predictions ahead of free agency, as well as some real bummer news. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And tomorrow marks the start of free agency. We've already seen some moves happen. Yesterday, Chris Tanev's rights were traded to Toronto. All that means is they get extra negotiating time. Jake Gensel's rights were traded to Tampa Bay. Mikhail Sergachev was traded to Utah, clearing up a lot of cap space. Tanner Jeannot was traded to clear up cap space. And there were other moves made around the league that showed it's time. Like, the summer free agency frenzy is here. We are... just get ready to buckle up. I think the most bummer news out of Calgary right now is that Oliver Kylington and the Flames could not come to an agreement during negotiations prior to July 1st. So he's hitting the market. This stinks. Okay. Regardless, I've seen people say, like, well, he owes the Flames. Like, they paid him while he took that time off. Are you keeping that same energy for someone else that is currently on leave, that will not be getting hopefully not be getting a qualifying offer this evening? I'm just curious, because Oliver Kylington did what he needed to do to take care of himself. And he worked with the team and the organization to get him back to where he was able to play. And he played towards the end of this season. Sounds like they want term, and the Flames aren't willing to do that. I mean, Oliver Kylington is not young by any means. He is 26, 27 years old. So this isn't like he's 23 and he's due for a bridge deal or anything like that. So the Flames have to move carefully, the same way they would with any other free agent that they're trying to sign. And obviously, Kylington has earned the right to test the market. It's that simple. That's that. And obviously, I hope something is like able to come together, because I really, really, really enjoy Kylington as a player, and he is a great addition to this team. And I really just don't want to lose Kylington. Salim Valji thinks that there is going to be a reunion between a former Flame, and obviously the Flames. Mike Gould suggested that it might be Gio if Kylington leaves. I feel indifferent on that. I don't I'm not going to sit here and say the Flames need to sign Gio or they need to steer clear of him. You have to fill out a roster. You need some veteran experience on that blue line, because you got nothing right now besides Weegar and Anderson. He's still got some game left in his tank, so why not? I don't think he's necessarily a bad defenseman. Bring him home for one more year and send him off to greener pastures. I think gone are the days of players on this team. There's really nobody here left from the Gio era. I'm pretty sure Mangiapane and Backlund were the last two, and obviously Backlund's still there, but that's it. So, bring the former captain back. Low price, 1-year contract. Why not? I think the Flames, Craig Conroy made it clear that they're not doing any sort of long-term contracts here. They are avoiding anything more than 4 years, which I think is a very smart move. They have enough players locked in long-term, and there's no guarantee what might happen between now and then. I think there are a lot of players, like Jeff Skinner's been bought out. Nate Schmidt's been bought out. There's a few young guys from Columbus that are either being bought out or not being extended a qualifying offer. So they'll become free agents. There are options here for the Flames, and it's not a bad thing. What's bad is Brad Treliving potentially signing Chris Tanev to a 6-year deal at the age of, he's almost 35. The Flames were questioning, Flames fans were worried about that 4-year deal back in 2021, when he was 30 years old, 31 years old. And I feel like that contract was good, worked out well, but you cannot continue to put all your eggs in Chris Tanev's basket. Re-signing Max Domi for 4 years at $4 million feels like a really dumb idea. And I guess that is just the way some general managers operate. I don't know. It sounds like Jacob Trouba is going to be traded too. So I think that with the cap increasing, teams they're just doing whatever they can to maximize the most of it. Stamkos is more than likely hitting the market tomorrow. Doesn't sound like anything is happening there, but like Craig Conroy is doing what he needs to do. They can't be worried about what Edmonton is doing. Oh, what are they going to do since Jack Campbell's being bought up? Who cares? Who cares? We got our own family business to worry about. And I think with Craig Conroy being transparent about his approach, it offers a very level playing field, I would say, for fans to critique him. I think if, they make some signings on Monday and we come back together on Tuesday to discuss, and there's like a 6-year deal in there for a 27-year-old, we're going to be having some conversations. We're going to be having some conversations. And I think that's a good thing, because while none of us are general managers, if you are a general manager and you're listening, I apologize. You are a general manager. But there is room to critique the front office without saying you hate the organization. Like, they should be fairly criticized. Their job is to do what they said they were going to do. And if they don't do that, then, well, you failed at your job for that goal. I really am intrigued to see where Jake DeBrusk lands. I think with the Mangiapane trade, like it helps break up that logjam that was in the forward kind of system. Maybe Jacob Pelletier does see more time in the NHL. Maybe, Max Domi extension has been officially announced while I'm recording this. Good job, Brad Living. But it's time to get younger. The pieces they need to add are not any long-term pieces. You need a veteran goaltender and something to hold up your blue line. Something. Because right now it is hanging on by like a piece of floss. And then the forwards, I feel like we've got enough stuff at home to make this work. So you're not going out and signing a 30-plus goal scorer. You're not going out and signing a Norris Trophy caliber defenseman. You're not trading for anything right now. So just kind of go into July 1st with an open mind, and I don't think there's going to be significant overpay from the Calgary Flames here. So we will have to see, and we will be back tomorrow evening to discuss any signings that the Flames make once free agency opens, and you can hang out with us on Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And thank you so much. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday, and happy early Canada Day. Bye-bye.